Good morning. Today we'll be studying the 7th chapter of Hilchot Shabbat, and this chapter deals with all the different types of melachot and describes the difference between the avot and the toledot. As we've been using up until this point, for the word melacha, we'll use transformation, and it definitely fits in the context of the word melacha for the majority of the chapter. Hilchot Shabbat, Perek Zayin, Halacha Aleph. מלאכות שחייבים עליהן סקילה וחרט במזיד או קורבן חטאת בשגגה, מהן אבות ומהן תולדות. The melachot, or the transformations that one would be liable for if he did them, he would be liable for sekila and karet if he did them deliberately, or a korban hatat if he did it inadvertently. There are avot and there are toladot. And for now, we'll use and translate the word avot as principles, and for toladot we can use derivatives. But from now we'll be simply using avot and toladot. ומניין כל אבות מלאכות, ומניין כל אבות מלאכות, 40 חסר אחת, ואלו הן, and the number of all of the avot melachot are 40 less 1, or 39, and they are the following. And just to point out, we have arba'im haser ehad also for malkut. If whoever is hayav malkut would also be liable for 39 lashes as well. And the melachot that we're going to be describing, as mentioned before, are melachot that had to do with the Mishkan, the Ma'aseh HaMishkan, and they are the following: Ve'eluhen, Ha-harisha, plowing; Ve'hazeri'ah, planting or sowing with an S-O, not an S-E; Ve'ketzira, and reaping; Ve'ha'imur, and piling up wheat; Ve'hadisha, threshing; Ve'hazeriyah, winnowing; Ve'berira, sorting; and Ve'atehina, grinding; Ve'harkada, sifting; Ve'halisha, kneading; Ve'ha'afiyah, and baking. And until in the first 10 melachot are, and just to backtrack a little bit, all of these melachot are taken from the Mishnah and Shabbat, Perek Zayin, Mishnah Bet, Chabet, and they're split up in a very interesting way. Harambam lists for us, and the Mishnah actually lists for us, and splits up the melachot in a very interesting way. So the first 10 are the making of bread. Mehila, hold on 1 second. Yes. The first 10 are the making of bread, or what Chachamim call sidura de pat. And the next 13 have to do with the making of clothing, sidra de beged. And the next 9 have to do with the writing of a book, ketivat sidra de sefer. And the last few, are just different melachot. So after ha'afiyah, baking, there is, and now we start the sidra de beged, ve'geziza, cutting wool from a sheep, ve'halibun. Libun is from the word lavan, that they would, back in the day, they would put wool in water, rub the wool against itself, and wring the wool in order to whiten it. Vaniputs, and carding, where back in the day, they would pass fibers between a certain surface to form strings. They would pass fibers between moving surfaces in order to form strings from the wool. Ve'atzivi'ah, and dyeing. Ve'attiviyah, spinning. Ve'asiyat, hannirin, something called heddling, where the thread is passed. It's basically the place that the thread is passed through on the loom. Ve'hansachat, masecha, forming a warp in the strings in the loom. Ve'ha'ariga, and weaving. Ve'habetzi'ah, and separating the strings of the weaving when one weaves. Ve'keshira, and that keshira, and tying a knot. Ve'hahatara, and undoing a knot. Ve'tefira, and sewing. And this is why I mentioned before. Here it's S-E, sewing, before it was S-O. Ve'kiri'ah, and tearing. Ve'binyan, ve'setira, and ve'binyan, and building. Ve'setira, and taking apart or destroying. Ve'hakaya, befatish, and hammering in a nail. But as we'll see, it refers to any gemar melacha, or conclusion of a melacha. Ve'asida, and trapping or hunting. Ve'shehita, and slaughtering. Ve'hafshata, and skinning. Ve'ha'abada, tanning. Umhikat ha'or, making the skin smooth to remove the hair of the animal. Ve'hitucho, and cutting the skin. Ve'ketiva, and writing. Ve'mehika, and erasing. Ve'sirtut, putting, as you mentioned before in Hilchot Sefer Torah, Mezuzah, Tefillin, Mezuzah, Sefer Torah, that back in the day, in order to make lines on the parchment, they would engrave lines on the leather, and that is a sur b'Shabbat. Ve'hahav'ara, kindling a fire. Ve'kibui, extinguishing a fire. Ve'hahotza'a mereshut l'reshut, and transferring from one domain to another. And Bezat Hashem will see the explanation of all of these and how all of these melachot apply in much more detail in the following chapters. Halacha bet. Kol elu ha-melachot v'chol shehu me'inyanan, hen ha-nikra'in avot melachot. All of these melachot, these transformations, and anything that has the same nature as they do, are called avot melachot, are called principal melachot. Ketzad hu inyanan, how so is their nature? Ehad ha-choresh, o ha-chofer, o ha-oseh haritz, anyone who plows or digs a hole or makes a trench, hareze av melacha, this person did an av melacha, or he caused the same transformation, essentially in all three cases. Shekol achat ve'achat mehen hafira bakarka ve'inyan ehadhu, as in all three cases, in plowing, digging a hole, and making a trench, the individual made a hole in the land or dug into the ground, and these three actions have the same nature. Halacha gimel. וכן, אחד הזורע זרעים, או הנוטע אילנות, או המבריך אילנות, או המרכיב, או הזומר, so too anyone who plants seeds, or who causes a tree to grow, plants a tree, or someone who puts a branch into the ground, covers it with dirt in order for it to grow another tree, or someone who ties two branches together so that they don't fall, that's markiv. And zomer is to cut off the dry branches of a grapevine so that in order for it to grow better. Kol elu av ehad hen me'avot melachot ve'inyan ehad hu. All of these actions are considered one av melacha, meaning every action, it's in and of itself, is considered an av melacha, as they all have the same nature. שכל אחד מהן, as all of these actions, לצמח דבר הוא מתכוון. All of these actions promote the growth of a plant, and that's what this individual is intending, as all of these actions, again, promote the growth of a plant, and each action have the same nature of zorea, and they are all considered an av. Each one, mehila, is considered an av. Halakha daled. V'chen, ehad haqotzer tevuah, o kitnit. Anyone who reaps his harvest, or legumes, o habotzer anavim, or anyone who harvests his grapes. And all of the following cases are situations in which someone harvests produce in some form or another. O hagoder timarim, or someone who reaps dates. O hamosek zetim, or someone who reaps and collects olives. O haore te'enim, or someone who reaps or harvests figs. Kol elu av melacha ahatin. All of these are under the same category of transformation, of melacha, of an av melacha, as we mentioned, the principal transformation. Shekol ahad mehen has all of these actions. La'akor davar migidulav mitkaven. He is intending to uproot something from a growing product. And that's what his intent is, and as therefore they are all under the melacha of of kotzer. And the other principles, the other av melachot, should be considered on the same path, or in the same way. Halacha ha-tolada, the derivatives from now toleda. Hi ha-melacha hadoma le'av me'elu ha'avot. It is a transformation that is similar to one of the principal transformations. Ketzad. How so? Someone who cuts a vegetable very, very thin in order to cook with it. This individual is liable. As this transformation is a derivative of tehina, of grinding. As someone who grinds, the nature of the action of grinding is when someone takes one item and splits it up into many items and forms many things from one origin. And anyone who does an action that is similar to this, it is considered a derivative, or toleda, of the melacha of tohen, the transformation of someone of tohen. Someone who takes a piece of metal and crushes it in order to take from its powder, as the tzorefei hazahav, the gold smelters would do. This is a derivative of grinding. Halacha vav. V'chen halokech halav v'natan bo keva kedei lehabetzo. Anyone who takes milk and puts rennet in it in order to curdle it. Basically, back in the day, in order to make milk, they would take milk and put it mehila in order to make cheese. They would put milk inside the belly of a dead animal. They would separate the proteins and the fat from the water in order to make cheese. And the enzyme and protein they would use was called rennet, and the rennet would curdle the milk in order to make cheese. An individual would be liable as this action is a derivative of borer, as he separated the whey, whey, or the juices of the cheese from the curdle. And if someone pressed curd into the cheese, hayav mishum boneh, one would be liable because from the transformation or melacha of boneh, shekol mekabetz helek el helek v'dibek hakol ad sheye'asu guf ehad, anyone who takes one piece and sticks another piece onto it in order for them to form one body, it resembles the action, the transformation of building. So too any of the principal transformations or avot melacha, they all have derivatives on the same way described that we just described. And from the nature of a melacha that is done on Shabbat, תדע מעין איזה אב היא ותולדת איזה אב היא. From the nature of the transformation that is done on Shabbat, you will know from which av and from which toleda each action is from. הלכה זין. אחד העושה אב מאבות מלאכות או תולדה מן התולדות. Anyone who does an action, either a principal transformation or a derivative transformation in av or toleda, bemezid, hayyav karet. If he did it purposefully, he is liable for karet. Ve'im ba'u edim niskal. And if there were witnesses that came and testified and warned him, he is put to death by stoning. Bishogeg hayyav hatat kevu'ah. If it was done inadvertently, he is liable to bring a hatat kivu'ah. As we mentioned before, a hatat kivu'ah is a korban hatat that does not depend on one's financial situation, in contrast to a korban oleh veyored, that if an individual didn't have the means to bring one type of korban, he would bring another type of korban. Im ken, ma hefresh yesh ben avot v'hat If so, if we just mentioned that anyone who does a toleda or an av is hayav either karet, if purposefully, and sekila, if there were witnesses and he was warned, and if he did it inadvertently, he is hayav hatat kivu'ah. And what's the difference between an av and a toleda? En benehen hefresh, there is no difference between them. Ella le'inyana korban bilvad. The only difference between them is in regards to the korban. Sheha'oseh beshogeg, as anyone who does inadvertently, does a melacha inadvertently, im asa avot harbe behe'elem ehad, if he did many avot, or principal melachot, in a single period in which he forgot, hayav hatat ahat al kol av ve'av, he is liable to bring a korban hatat on each and every av melacha that he violated. However, if someone did an av and a toleda in one single period in which he forgot, for example, if he did a few melachot and didn't know, and mehila, he did an av and he had many toladot in one single period in which he forgot, he is only liable for one hatat. Again, just to clarify the difference, because it is extremely important, between an av and a toleda, the only difference between them is in regards to the korban in a single period in which the person forgot. So if he did many avot, melachot, he is liable to bring a korban hatat on each and every av melacha. However, if he did an av and a toleda, he is only liable for one hatat. And obviously this is in regards to if he did the same toleda, if he did a toleda of the same av. So for example, he did many toladot of boneh. He is only hayav one korban. However, if he did a toleda of boneh and a toleda of, for example, zeri'ah, he is hayav two, as they are both under the different categories of avot melachot. Halacha het. Ketzad. Harambam will clarify this with an example, as he does. If someone plowed or planted or reaped on Shabbat in one single period of forgetfulness, hayav shalosh hattaot, he is liable to bring three korbanei hattat. ואפילו עשה 40 חסר אחת בשגגה, כיוון ששכח שאלו המלאכות אסורות לעשות בשבת, חייב על כל מלאכה ומלאכה חטאת אחת. Therefore, similarly, even if someone did all 39 melachot by mistake, for example, if he forgot that these actions are melachot and they are forbidden to be done on Shabbat, he is obligated to bring 39 korbanei hattat on each and every action. אבל אם טחן וחתך הירק ושף לשון שלמתכת בהיעלם אחד, if someone grinded and cut a vegetable very thin and crushed metal in order to get the powder, as we mentioned before, in one single period of forgetfulness, and hayav ela hatat ahat, he is only liable to bring one hatat, as he only violated one of melacha and its derivatives. So too anything else of this sort. And halachatet. But again, however, if someone did the toleda of a different melacha, he would be obligated to bring another korban hatat in addition to the first action that he did. So okay, halachatet. Anyone who did a melacha, who did many melachot, and all of them are analogous to one melacha, is only liable, is only liable to bring one hatat. Ketzad? הרי שזרע ונטע והבריך והרכיב וזמר בהיעלם אחד, אינו חייב אלא חטאת אחת, שכולם אב אחד הן. If, say, somebody planted and put seeds in the ground and put a branch in the ground and covered it with dirt so that it would grow, so that another tree would grow. As you mentioned before, these are all toladot of zorea. Or if someone tied two branches together in order for them not to fall, or someone cut the dry branches of a grapevine, he is only liable to bring one hatat, as they are all under the same category of the av. V'chen kol kayotze bazeh. And so too, anything of this sort. B'ezrat Hashem will study the 8th chapter that talks about the melachot from harisha to lisha.